I hate the countdown. The countdown simply lasts too long. So week 9 is in the books. We're finally fully back. No, not fully, but not everyone's played. But we've got a full slate of games to talk about. So it is going to be Tebs here with SJ and FJ from the Lancashire Rams. So we're going to start this with some questions for the team that currently leads the Northern One. So FJ, how are you doing?
Quite good, honestly. Can't say not happy to start the weekend with a win, so can't be happier.
So when it comes to the Northern Division 1, realistically, all the divisional leaders currently, you've got Edinburgh Napier, who've won their division. You've got the Nottingham Green, who have also won their division. I think you're obviously very, very close to winning your division, but it's quite tight at the top. How has the year been for the Rams, both morale-wise and playing-wise?
Quite good, honestly. Like, I think we started off this year saying that we want to solidify or cement that we are contenders for this league. Especially, I think from you guys, have a lot of you guys posted us as being potential winners for the North, and we're like, okay, all eyes are on us, and we're going to show why eyes are on us. So we go in, week out, kind of cementing that. I think week 1, where we only won 10-0 to UOM, was a bit an awakening to us. I think some of us might have thought it was the same as last year. Some of us might have thought it was easier, but the fact that all of us saw that 10-0 as not being enough, from head coach to positional coaches to vets to rookies, we saw that 10-0 was not enough, and we woke up to just continue foot on the gas. It's good to say that it's been a positive outtake since then.
So obviously, apart from the turnover of players, I'm sure some turnovers of coaches. Has anything else changed between obviously the name, of course, the Rams of last year and the Rams of this year?
Oh, nothing truly, like you said, aside from probably adding a few key players that we've started, for example, like our D lineman, Robin, cornerback, Joe, or as well as our receiver, Angus, that we've recruited. There hasn't been, I would say, a crazy systematic change. I'd say it's the same head coach, Sam Bloomfield, pushing us to go forward, same positional coaches, the same drive to improve us as a unit, same players, same vets trying to, ensure that we're all still in the same mind. So I think it's just more that from last year where we only played, some of us had never played together, and we had a season to kind of get together to get well, to go from a 7-1 record in our first year back in Div 1 to now being, okay, we've played together already about 9 games. We have a second year to go again. Let's go back from that. Let's not start low. Let's end in a high.
So, I mean, I was commentating and live streaming the second game against the Northumbria Mustangs, and I
Yeah.
mean, when that game ended, it was one of the strangest experiences that I've ever seen on the field. With a sense of no one was happy. Northumbria, their undefeated record was by the by, and the Rams unfortunately didn't put enough points on the Rams to eclipse them in the divisional standings.
Yeah.
Tell me what the sort of like the frustration was like just in that game alone.
It was, I think, probably the biggest like mixed emotions of like having played that game. A lot of us were, I wouldn't say content with how we were playing, but we were excited with the way we were going as a defense. I've played against Elliot Green, the receiver on Northumbria. It's always fun playing against them. So being able to have good competition and playing as a well, we started off with the 14-0, I think, towards the midpoint of the fourth quarter. So we were quite happy with the fact that, okay, this is what we need. We want to put more. Obviously, it was difficult to do so. But then when they got that field goal, it did drop us quite heavily because it was literally we needed 14 points to be ahead. So it did shoot us a bit in the foot. I'll be honest, because we knew that North Harbor were not going to lose to anyone else. So it did shoot us a bit in the foot when we saw that they made the field goal.
So obviously, with the Rams, there's a close link with the Manchester Titans. How do you think that's played a part in the Rams' realistically continued success over the last few years?
It's played a massive part, honestly. That being said, because for example, I played my first year last year at the Titans, and I've felt the shift from Uniball to out of ball, and it's been a massive shift. And I know, for example, players like Abdul, our linebacker, Charlie Martin, our quarterback, a lot of us played I wouldn't say our first year of out of ball, but I'd say our first year together, where we felt as a unit. So to go all together over there to experience that change of pace, that increase of physicality, it's honestly made us feel more cohesion, like we think more alike, especially with players like our defensive coordinator George Foster, who's the head coach there. We think quite alike what we like, and we know what he wants. The ideology is the same, and having players like Adam Bama come back to coach us, Bloomfield head coach, and more. Also Brad Temple to come coach our running back. It's the connection's there, and it helps us make sure that we stay on pace and continue developing great players.
So one thing that I've said sort of throughout this half a season with the Uniball show is, I don't get me wrong, I think the Rams will win the division, but playoff football for the Rams has been a struggle. Even going back to when they got promoted into Div 2, I think they had a first round elimination there. First round elimination last year versus Sterling. I know that the conditions were terrible that day for everyone playing, but what obviously playoffs aren't happening yet. But what are the Rams doing now to sort of prevent a first round exit and hopefully a trip to Loughborough come March 24th?
Like you said, player condition was horrible, but it was horrible for both sides. So that's not really something that we can afford to use as an excuse. So right now, we're using these season games to let everyone get more game time or try new positions. I think that's what kind of let us down. We're a bit too focused on letting players play their best position. So when injuries came about, we had to rotate pieces. We had to get used to new position, and it didn't work because it was too last minute. So now with the season going on right now, we're really focused on everyone understanding the rules, everyone understanding how the playbook works, understanding how to analyze team and how to move forward from it. So I think that's definitely a background step we've taken to ensure that this playoff is not as quick and easy as it was last year.
So I have been known to sort of try and instigate some level of rivalries in Uniball.
Mm.
Would you say that there is, at least some part of the Rams who are on this team who want another crack at the Northumbria Mustangs? Obviously, when you get promoted, because I mean, like for me, like the last season and the season before, I remember that when the Northumbria Mustangs were in Div 2 and so were the Rams, I was like, yes, this is it. But we never got the game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Is there something to that, or am I just sort of fantasy booking in my head?
I don't know if I'd say it's really rivalry, because like they're 2 hour like travel away, so it's not really easy to say rivalry, but I would say it's definitely a competition aspect, and I think a respect level as well, where we know that they're a good side. We've won, they've won, and I think that most of us are just unhappy with how it's just ended, where they've just gone up and we're stuck here. So it's more so we're always happy to play good teams, and Northumbria is a good team. So if we can run it back, we'll run it back as soon as possible.
So obviously Edge Hill this weekend away for you, is it? Yeah, away for you.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to end up winning the division with a victory over Edge Hill this weekend. How does it feel to be able to claim yourselves as divisional champions? Or how will it feel? Sorry, got to give some credit to Edge Hill here.
It'll feel great, honestly. I think last year is probably something we were close to getting. So being able to get that in Div 1 after being here only for 2 years is great. Being at Chill, they will be I'd say a decent side, seeing how they had a good performance this weekend against UOM. So we'll definitely won't be going in, cocky or blind. We will be obviously doing our work to see what Edgehill did right, or maybe what UOM did wrong. Who knows who fucked them on which side. But yeah, once we can claim that divisional win, it's still all gas, no brakes. So no, but we will have our celebrations. I can admit that part.
So it's looking like the top three: Nottingham Green for the Midlands, Edinburgh Napier for the for Scotland, and Northern Few. Which one of those teams would you prefer to face?
I'm happy with whoever, honestly. I
That's the right answer.
think as a corner, I don't duck smoke from anyone. I'm not. If a receiver wants to try and route me, you'll probably see the ground. If a QB wants to try and throw that to their best receiver who I'll be guarding, he might get it picked off. So I'm not ducking smoke from either one. So whoever, if the question should be who wants to face us, because we're right now, I could probably say being that we've not conceded a single point yet. I think nearly probably the best point difference. Well, we're the best team in the north, so they have to come to us. So I'm not worried about any of it.
Is there a? I suppose let me rephrase it. Is there a team that you'd like to play? Like you'd be excited to be like, it could be a team you played before, could be a new team.
I think either both of them would be new. We've never played either one. Which one I'd be preferred to play is a good question. I'd probably say Edinburgh, just because since they were last year, also they were the favorite. They made the finals for the North, and they are one of the favorites this year to win again. It'd be wonderful to face a good side that all the outsiders are seeing to be competition. And I am aware that they do have some very good weapons. And like I said, I love a challenge. So if I can face Weapon X and break Weapon X, I'll do it.
So FJ, what year of your course? How many years have you got left at the Rams?
This is my last year at the Rams. Right now, this
In-
is the final of my course.
So this is something that I've tend to ask people if it is their final year. What do you want your legacy to be as part of the Lancashire Rams?
Uh, I feel like it's a bit of a hard question to really answer. I've thought about it a few times. I would like to end my year with us getting promoted. My goal, I've spoken with Sam as well, Ryan Allen, as well as George Foster. I'm not as concerned about me personally, going in saying I get this award or going. It's more so this team I believe deserves to be in the Prem. So I would like that this September coming in 2026. It's not that we have to go saying, oh, okay, here we go again, going against UOM, going against MMU. I want to see this. That next year we're facing Northumbria, we're facing Newcastle, we're facing. That is the legacy, and I want to be known, or I want Sam Bloomfield or Oliver Coach to be able to say that this is the defense that held team scoreless, or that led the drives, or prevented drives to allow us to get back or to the Prem. So that's the legacy I would like to leave on my last year.
In that case, Ash, have you got anything to plug?
Plug. Oof. Let's see. Definitely, I'd say Charlie Martin. I'd say that's a quarterback that everyone probably already has their eyes on since Brit Ball. I think his time's coming at GB as well. Abdul, I think there's much that needs to be said about that guy. Brit Ball has been made from inside. Brit Ball's had stats on him. Teams that have been aware of him. So he's a linebacker that's going to be feared in Europe. Jerome Darko, same thing, intelligent corner DB. I think a player that's definitely underrated is probably our 88, our wide receiver, Christian Dean. He's a very talented receiver, in my opinion. I feel like people might underestimate Bobby due to his stature, but he is quite nimble, quite rapid. He plays up back, right back, so he is quite capable. So that's definitely a receiver I would like to plug. I think that's really on my side. I just want to make sure that my guys get known.
Well, in that case, then the Lancashire Rams take on the Edge Hill Vikings at Edge Hill. So if you're in the area, go. But with that, FJ, thank you. Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah.
Are you going to be at Elite Fives?
Me. I've thought about it. It's just to travel down south with my course. It is a bit difficult. I do medical sciences, so it is quite a hefty module.
Yeah.
And I don't finish until June, so it is a bit of a questionable one. I will be playing for Titans for sure this summer, but we'll see. I am looking to see if it's possible to fit Elite Five because it would be fun. I've seen Sam Fossey as well, Stuart Rock, like a lot of the Gramps, I should say, or the old heads at Titans play. So it has gotten Oh shit, fair is not. They might kill me after for saying that. But they might kill me for saying that, but I have seen how much fun they had, how well they played, and I always hated sevens. I always hated flag because it had a lack of contact. So the fact that Elite Fives have presented this version of it, it has intrigued me. So we'll see if I can make it down to a team.
Well, then with that, I mean, good luck for what little of the season you have left. Obviously, we're going to be keeping tabs on the Rams going forward, as they are one of the favourites to go up to the Premiership. But thank you very much for being on.
No problem. Take care.
So we're going to get into week 9, where, I'd say there's for me anyway, there was only one upset. What do you think about that, SJ? Do you think that's fair?
What, across the board?
Yeah.
Yeah. What game was it again? Was it the?
It's Coventry ARU. That was my upset. Obviously, we'll get into the rest, but for me, that one is the one that is the outlier for me.
We're at that point in the season now where we're really starting to know who's going to the playoffs, who are the favourites to win each game.
And this is it. Like, when I thought it would be final week of the season, it's ARU, it's Cambridge. I thought that was going to be the one that was going to decide who goes up from the Midlands. That loss to Coventry, we never like to say Cam's right on this show, but he had Coventry as his comeback team of the year, and the potential comeback, as in the second half of the season, who could have a bounce back, and Coventry have already proved him right. And if I'm Coventry, I immediately start losing. so Cam is not right. But we're going to get into it. So from the top, obviously, no national Prem games this week, but I was right. This is the best one. So let's dig into this. So I'm right. Everyone else dead wrong. The Northumbria Mustangs do get both wins over their varsity rivals, the Newcastle Raiders, 26-20.
I think it was Northumbria was running away with it at one point, weren't they? And I think Newcastle
caught up.
Just fallen short. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. I've turned the corner on the Mustangs. I thought at the start of the season they were not going to be able to continue their, runaway momentum that they've had over the past 2 years, going back to back. Obviously, they're probably not going to get promoted this year. But the fact that they're managing to, probably finish the season with a positive record, fantastic.
I mean, that's it. Well, I think they struggle in coming up, but yeah. I think 4 and 4 minimum is pretty good.
I mean, this is it. When you can make the playoffs in the Prem, you are a good team, But I think that this could be our southern bias coming in, SJ. That we do think that it's probably going to come from the south this year, probably from a horrible little pitch near Uxbridge. That's probably who's going to win it, right? That's what we think. We've made that pretty clear. But at the end of the day, the North still got to compete. Great for Northumbria. Moving on to the Leeds Griffins versus the Warwick Wolves. Scoreline, truthfully, about what I expected. I do think that Cam has got some. He is right in the sense of, the Leeds Griffins aren't losing these games by lots, but at the end of the day, they're still winless.
I think the door is closing for them.
Yeah,
they've still got NCU. I just don't see a world where they can overcome it at this point.
No, I mean, you look at it, Warwick getting, back on the right path for the divisional champions of last year. But I mean, again, I still am perplexed by, we look at the Leeds Griffins. I thought they were potentially going to win the whole thing, and it's not to be the case. Let me just have a look to see who the Leeds Griffins have actually got left on their docket. So they've obviously got NTU, who are currently leading the Northern Prem. So they have got NTU, as you've said. Who have they got on the 8th? They have got Northumbria. I really don't think they're going to be able to do it. And then they've got Newcastle. I don't see any of those for victories for Leeds. Maybe Newcastle. But then they've got to hope the Newcastle, also don't do as well.
Yeah. I think that's the in the Prem divisions. That's the one that's the closest, I think, to being confirmed at this point.
It's when you have to start relying on other teams to prevent your relegation. That's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah, that's when it's a serious issue.
And I think that's where Leeds are right now. They need some help, and I don't think they're going to get it. If I'm completely
no one's
honest with
helping.
you. No one's helping you. Moving on to the Prem South. God, I love these Cardiff Cobras. God, I love these Cardiff Cobras. 37-12 over the Portsmouth Destroyers. I said on my little Teb's top 3, this is the first time the Portsmouth Destroyers are going into Clan Rumney as the underdogs, at least in my opinion. 37-12. We saw some great stat lines for the Cardiff Cobras that will be going up with our Have a Day series. So if you have had a day, give me some stats, send them over. I'll make some lovely graphics for you. But yeah,
I think they just. It's what I mean. Cobra's a dangerous team. This is why I said I don't think that game against SGS is cut and dry.
This is it, and this is where it's interesting. So they're taking on the SGS Pride the Friday before the Super Bowl, and hopefully I will be there. It's a 7 p.m. kickoff. So I don't like crossing the big bridge if it's rainy or windy. So if the weather's nice, I will be there. But for me, that's a very interesting game, and I'm excited to go down.
Bristol, no?
Nope.
But the Cardiff SGS game last was at Cardiff.
I'm fairly certain that it's not.
I'll have a look.
One of the Cobras will be in the chat. Yes, go and check. I thought it was in Wales.
No.
If it's in Bristol, I'll definitely go.
Yeah, if it's on a Friday night, then I might come as well. Actually.
Yeah, sorry, we're just going to check through this because from the conversations I had with Adam Eckhart, he didn't say that. To be fair, he didn't say it was in Wales. He just made it out like it would be in Wales. So,
local man terrified of a 7.
Mate, I am. I don't want to cross that bridge. I was white knuckling going across that one time. I almost cried, genuinely almost cried. But yeah. We're going to get to it. And then obviously we'll promise I have to wait for SJ to do this because we've got to talk about SGS. Oh, perfect.
Friday night, 7 p.m. SGS.
Oh. Yeah, I'll go to that. Yeah, you kidding? I really thought that was in Cardiff. Right. We'll discuss it afterwards. But yeah, Cardiff versus... I think that they win that game. I think they win it. I'm going to put my money on the Cobras for that one.
It's a weird one because if they win it, then... that game against Brudel kind of just becomes a bit.
Yeah, but then obviously you've got to face SGS again at Site 5.
Well, we've also got to beat Portsmouth first, so.
Yes, of course, but I mean SGS is the one that we will be live streaming, of course. So moving on, Exeter versus Brunel. And again, Exeter not looking very healthy here. Don't get me wrong, we love the memes. We love the memes out of Exeter.
This unreal memes today.
I genuinely laughed.
Good.
I laughed out loud for that one where the guy was sliding around on his knees. Very, very good. Yeah,
we weren't even the context of that. The celebrations weren't even really celebrations.
Go on.
It was just you've seen Christian when he scores, he just does his little scream. Let's go. Yeah. Flag.
Oh yeah. I've made sure to, whilst on commentary for the Brunel Burners, when Christian runs that ball in from 1 yard and he celebrates like he's just scored an 80-yard absolute scream. He's passed it to himself. He's ran down, caught his own ball, and gone in. But it's
passion. You can't be passionate.
No, exactly.
Anymore.
Exactly. No, this is it. Like you can be passionate, but I just think it's funny when he runs in from the 1. Obviously, you should be excited, but when you're like, 3 scores up and you run it in from the 1, you can maybe just go.
Every score matters.
Yes, but I mean, okay, so let's get on to it. Obviously, Brunel looking very, very healthy here. Obviously, the big showdown for them is going to be the 14th again. No, the 15th versus the 15th. The 15th versus SGS. I was about to say their last home game of the regular season versus SGS. obviously that's the big one. Still got to get through Portsmouth, of course, but you really are eyeing the SGS. Whilst Exeter, they are very much. I think both teams are probably both eyeing Portsmouth here because Exeter do need to come away with a victory against Portsmouth. But I don't know what the score margin was. So
the thing is, Exeter they've got a receiver who's is in space. Is an incredible receiver. If they can get the ball to him, I think they will beat Portsmouth. Yeah, it sounds very simple when you say it like that, but
yeah,
it's a question: can the ball get there, and can he do the job? But yeah, I think Exeter have been unfortunate enough to be in the position they're in because they're not a bad side at all. But yeah, like I said, I think given how long the trip was, it's pretty happy with the result. But they've got a golf like little golf bunker, and like you've seen it because you've been there.
yeah. I don't.
Nuts.
I've not seen it.
They've got a little golf bunker and a pitching green right next to the pitch where you could just. I was like, right, great. I'm not in London anymore, am I?
Do you have any idea how insulting it is that you're looking at golfing when you should be paying attention and general managing your team?
I'm on the way. I'm walking to the pitch and I spot it. And I go, oh, that's cool. That's it. I'm not sat there going, oh, let me play.
So Exeter would need to beat Portsmouth by 15 to stay up if Portsmouth don't win another game. It's going to be at Exeter. That's something for them, but that's definitely something we will touch on when that game is taking place. So moving on to Scotland, let's be honest, Glasgow were the only team that Edinburgh Napier had not beaten to this point, and 54-0 beat the brakes off of them. Napier,
they're hotting up.
I'm very, very happy to say that. Obviously, there is some talk. Obviously, that the Scottish one's a very weird division. You don't know if someone's good until they make the playoffs. I don't think that's the case here. Napier are demolishing these teams, and especially when you consider that the Stirling Klansmen beat the Mavericks 42-0, and Napier thrashed Stirling. As we said in the interview with FJ, the top three in the Northern Div 1. They could all do it. Well, no, but I mean, like when it comes to the playoffs, they could all do it, and no one is going to be surprised. But the top three is as cut and dry as it has been. Basically the complete inverse to the south,
which is a mess.
But that's what we like because it makes it interesting. I
think if Napier's big thing is getting that one seed. If they can get that one seed, it becomes an incredibly difficult because they lost to Northumbria, right? Northumbria, the most northernmost team that could have played them. So that journey for anyone else, it's not an easy trip one bit.
But this is it. You have to look at exactly what FJ said. Rams, they haven't conceded a point yet. At the end of the day, the Napier Knights have. It's going to take. They're going to need Manchester to really pull. Sorry, Edge Hill and Manchester to really pull something out to be able to have a chance of not having to travel to Preston, which is a big, it's a long journey for them. Anywhere's a long journey, but it definitely helps the Rams. But if I recall correctly, the Stirling Klansmen had to travel to the Rams last year and beat them. So it's not out of the realm of possibility here for Napier, even if they do end up as the second or third seed. And speaking of the top three in the Northern, this one hurts my soul. This one hurt me emotionally. This one hurt me deeply. The Nottingham Green, 29-0 against Hallam. Like that, as far as I'm concerned, that puts Nottingham Green so far up in my mind. Don't get me wrong. I do think out of the top three, I'd probably give it to Napier, Rams, and then Green, which I think is fair. But 29-0 against Hallam, who are not a bad team, the second place team in that division. I can't be more impressed with the Nottingham Green.
They have, they shut up any kind of
doubt,
rumours or anything, or doubt that they were going to be dropping anything. It's a statement win.
Exactly. Like there's not much to really say when you're beating the second place in your division 29-0. Of a fair few shutouts this week. And speaking of that, move your phone away from the microphone so it stops vibrating and we can hear it, please.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Speaking of shutouts, the Rams 36-0 over MMU. Not much of a surprise there. Don't think there's much to really talk about. The Rams are going to clinch the division this week with a win over Edge Hill. But on the flip side of that, let's speak of Edge Hill here. Manchester, second place team in that division, 20-14. Manchester, escape a game with Edge Hill with 6 points and a win.
Edge Hill comeback. Edge Hill comeback is on.
But this, you say the Edge Hill comeback, but I think even a win here doesn't really help them very much. Because I think they need two. I think they need 2 wins to stay safe, right? And they almost did it. I think if Edge Hill are really playing with an added sense of emergency, which they realistically should be, let's be honest, Edge Hill beat the Rams this week. As far as I'm concerned, that is the biggest upset in Uniball history. If it happens, I don't think it will, but if it does, it's the biggest upset in Uniball history.
I told you I said it in the chat earlier. The biggest upset was Notts versus Hearts. Nothing comes close to that.
Yeah, but I mean, back when we weren't all wearing leather helmets.
I'm not that old. You're older than me.
Yeah, you're acting like it, man.
No, sorry.
Give it a rest. Okay, the biggest upset in recent memory.
Yeah, go on then.
Is that good for you? Okay, but yeah, I don't think it will happen. But I mean, Edge Hill could be dangerous. I mean, you've backed them into a corner now, so they've got nowhere to go apart from straight towards you, and that seems to be what Edge Hill are doing. Southeastern, the Kingston Cougars lose to the KCL Regents 0-9, and my white shoes have been sacrificed.
Yeah, what was that?
Oh, it was not a, that is a game that was a triple threat match. It was the KCL Regents versus the Kingston Cougars versus the exceptionally swampy and muddy Tallworth Sports Ground. It was horrid conditions. I can't say I'm surprised with the low score line. Like it was a low score line sort of game.
It was the clip where I can't remember which team it was. Runs out, he goes out of bounds, he slips, and he just keeps going.
Oh, I've got one where I need to really post this one. The tackle comes towards me, and I just take a step back, and I just get showered in mud. Head coach of the KCL Regents, Coach Nada, what he was wearing was spotless at the start of the day.
Why was it? I always said this. I said, was he playing? Like, how has he got mud all
Genuinely,
over him? Like
it's because a tackle came towards him. They were sliding, and the mud just went all up him.
That explains it now. I'm really confused as he dove in it, but
no, it was really. It was an interesting game. It was interesting to see the Southeast, but I don't really think it paints a fair representation of either team. If I'm completely honest, like that was not a game that was there wasn't many highlights in the game. Obviously, we got that great fumble slash. No, it was a fumble because it was a strip, which was great. But KCL scored early. Both the touchdown, extra point, and safety came in the first quarter. So, from there it was just, it was seeing how many layers of mud built up on the genuinely sparkling white lowers of the KCL Regents. It was. I feel bad for whoever's got to wash those, but for me, it doesn't paint a fair representation of either team. But moving on to the other game, UCL versus Kent. This one was actually pretty close. Well, I know that
they've really thrown themselves at that UCL.
At one point, it was 21-20 for the Kent Falcons over the UCL Emperors, but Kent managed to get 9 more points, sealing it here. UCL still in that relegation zone, but again, I feel as though very much the same as Edge Hill. You're backing UCL up against a wall, and they almost beat a team that is, one of the teams that you have to earmark to go far in the playoffs for the Southern Div 1.
I think that's a division where I think there's another twist in there, but I don't know which end of the table it is.
Yeah, because obviously Brighton haven't played yet. They're definitely one to watch. But I think with that scoreline, it's not just cut and dry for UCL to have some relegation. Though speaking of relegation, I do think that the Plymouth Blitz short journey up to Div 2 is probably, to Div 1 is probably going to be coming to an end. 41-0 against the Bournemouth University Bobcats, who are 7-0, but obviously still not on top of the Southwest one.
We're going to go back to Bobcats watch. Where are they in the league?
We're going to go to Bobcats watch. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. We've got a game that could potentially see some ramifications for the Bournemouth University Bobcats happening this weekend, and that is the rematch of the Bath Killer Bees versus the Bristol Barracuda in Bath, which I can say that I will be at. I'm going to do my... Lots of their players were at GB Trials Sunday. Which team, Alex? Which team are we talking about?
But that was the day before.
I've lost my train of thought.
That was the day before, no?
Go to Bobcats watch for me.
They are second. They're 1 point behind Bristol now.
Interesting.
So there's a hilarious scenario where if Bristol lose and Bobcats win the next game, they're top of the division.
So wait, what was the... Because we heard anyway, or we done some investigating. People have told us that Bath beat Bristol. There is a chance that Bournemouth don't make the playoffs. Is that still correct?
I imagine it is, but the big factor in it now is, I think I alluded to it last week, is you've got that Brum Oxford game, which I don't know if it's been rescheduled yet. I've not heard if it's been rescheduled.
Alex says he's talking about Kent. I thought he was talking about Kent.
Oh yeah, but I don't understand why that means that it was closer on Sunday.
Yeah, but I can imagine, if you've gone to GB Trials the day before, you've probably thrown yourself at it, and you don't want to play a full game after that.
I mean, maybe I'm just, but we had quite a fair few guys there on Saturday, and
okay.
Still...
But I mean,
so I get where he's coming from. Like, they probably are tired, but nah.
But yeah, I mean,
give UCL some credit. Nah.
Of course you are, mate. Of course, mate. Of course you are going to do that. But Bournemouth versus Plymouth, I can imagine. Actually, I need to check. Let me check, see if Bournemouth are actually playing next weekend, or otherwise, I would probably imagine that there are going to be some Bournemouth Uni Bobcats at having to get to the maze that is the Bath Killer Bees playing field. But they're not playing, so I imagine that there probably will be some there. Southern 1, UEA 0, Birmingham Lions 28. Yes, this is it. But the Birmingham Lions are not out of this yet, and I feel that way. I feel strongly about it as well. I think they were too banged up before Christmas, and that's just how it works. Come back 28-0 against the UEA Pirates, who have beaten Oxford.
They did beat Oxford, didn't they? Yeah, I was going to say they're not gone. But that point differential was that head-to-head is where it's killer, right?
That's the problem. Like, Oxford have beat them more than they beat them, but UEA not having a real shout there. It'd be interesting to see who they've actually got for the rest of the season. Let's do some Pirates watch here. Let's have a look. They've got Oxford Brooks next week. Can't see it, if I'm honest. Not to be that guy, but I can't see it for them there. And then they've got the Hurricanes the week after. Can't see it for them there. And then the 14th, they have got a break. And final week of the season, are there anyone playing? No, they're not playing. It's not a good rest of the season for the UEA Pirates.
No.
They've got OBU and Hearts. That's not good. I can't see it for them.
No, I don't think it's... Do the Pirates need a hard reset? I mean, it's a big fall.
It's a big fall.
You'd have to wonder, if they were in the southeast, would they have suffered the same fate? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, but for me, I said the same. I said the inverse for when Brighton went over. I thought them Brighton moving over to the southeast, would they have been relegated in the southern this year? Yes, I think so. So
No.
no,
I think Oxford would have, because
Okay.
that's clearly not the Oxford team that we've seen over the last 2 and a bit years.
no, but
Albeit it was very fun to watch.
for me anyway, like the Lancers need a break of greatness, just because like they've always were sort of pushing that boundary. Obviously, last year they were a game voided away from making the playoffs and giving us a spectacular first round match that would have been the Bournemouth University Bobcats versus the Oxford Lancers, which that's box office, and I'm gutted we didn't see it, but. At the end of the day, UEA look like they're going down, and I really don't think either OBU or Hearts is going to be a place where the UEA Pirates can pick up a win. I really, really don't.
If they do, sick.
If they do, then I will shut my mouth. Like, considering that it's on the other side of the country, I'm not willing to make one of those proclamations that I will, attend and apologise in person. But if it was somewhere else, but it is literally the opposite side of the country. So moving on to Div 2, our dreams and our thought processes around the Salford Storm, we have to start being realistic about the Salford Storm. Okay, they're a team that is their first year in the league, right? So we have to start being realistic about them. Okay,
we are very funny with it in the sense of they've won their first game. And we've gone, yeah, Super Bowl. They're going to it. They're winning it all. But no, I don't think it could be. I don't think they should be too hard on themselves.
No, not at all.
First season in, the aim is obviously if your first season is play all your games. If you can get some wins as well, fantastic, and they've got that.
Like this is it, right? Like, again, this might be coping, but they can still make the playoffs. They can still make the playoffs. I want Salford in the playoffs. I'm going to keep that particular dream alive. Breaking news: you can't just make a Uniball team and smack everyone else. SGS Pride, you absolutely can. You absolutely can just make a Uniball team and smack everyone else.
If there's people watching that were not here for that year, you missed out.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't really miss out, but you missed out.
Yeah. The SGS Pride made a Uniball team and they smacked everyone and won the Div 1 championship.
I think that was the most odds-on favourite.
Yeah.
For a winner.
Ever. Yeah. 1 to 500 odds for SGS Pride.
1 to 500 would be low. That's
So I don't know about that. I definitely think that you can do that. As far as like the game was concerned, from what I was told, a couple of big throws were the scores, but it was a fairly strange affair. Was the Salford Storm versus the Staffordshire Stallions. So again, I'm happy to see Staffordshire, gain some level of success, but Staffordshire apparently running from this is what I was told, a very Warwick-like offense. So yeah, apparently lots of QB sneaks, which I find quite funny because it worked for Warwick. So why not just? Is Div 2 Midland's most entertaining league? Truthfully, could be. It could be, and we're going to get into it here. So obviously, the old Lincoln Colonials, God bless them, 46-0 loss to the Cambridge Pythons. Pythons currently on top here, but for me, the big win of the weekend, the Coventry University Jets 12, the ARU Siege 6.
They've cooked.
ARU, it's you're watching a team sort of fall here. The loss to DMU was a big one. Let's be completely honest. But Coventry, who were 1-1, wasn't looking. It was like, okay, Coventry are back down. But that win, as far as I'm concerned, that propels Coventry into at least a playoff conversation. I think we are going to have the Cambridge Pythons winning one of the Northern three, which is always fun to witness. But yeah,
I'd be interested to see what's happened at ARU. Have they had injuries or Yeah, but then I think you do find that there are teams that go away over Christmas, and there's some teams that were hot before that continue to be really hot, and then there's some that kind of just fade away a bit.
It could very well be the case here. I mean, Isaac's saying that Coventry were running with their backup QB, or at least not the same guy as the Cambridge game last term. Well, I mean, you've put someone else in. They've come away with a big victory here, and it does make that game on the last week of the season, the ARU Cambridge game, lose a little bit of its luster here. Obviously, it's still Coldham's Cup game, which is their I guess it's sort of varsity battle between the two Cambridge-based teams. But as it stands right now, I mean, Cambridge looking very, very good. And I'm not sure if anyone picked Cambridge to actually go up. I imagine someone probably did. But at the end of the day, I didn't see this for... It was the same QB both games. Sorry, they're having a chat in the thing. The Cambridge have obviously got ARU left, and they have got... Let me look. Nope, that's DMU.
If Cambridge go up, then I'm really intrigued to see how they do the alignments.
It's going to be an interesting one. So I think we'll obviously get onto this on Friday when we go through our preview. A game that I think could realistically shake up the entire Midlands here. You've got the Coventry Uni Jets versus the Cambridge Pythons.
Yeah. Actually, I've just pulled it up now. Yeah, if Cobb win that, they could go up.
Cambridge, honestly, like Cambridge versus Coventry, like that's a game that I wish I could be at. I know we're getting through this every single week where it's like, I wish I was at every single game. But Cambridge versus Coventry, that's a game that I wish I could be at. But what's that, about a 2.5 hour journey, I think, for Cambridge, maybe longer to Coventry. It's a very boring drive. I've made that drive. I've made that drive. It's very, very boring. But yeah, I mean, that could be one that shakes it all up again. That's going to be a hard one to pick, actually, but thankfully we don't have to do it right this minute. Southern 1. Interesting scoreline here. The Chichester Spitfires 13, the Surrey Stingers 20. Let me just tell you a little bit about this game, if that's okay. The refs adjusted the field pre-game to be 80 yards as it was so poorly marked. We played in just one direction for all drives regardless of possession. Not even sure of quarters, it was just 2 short halves, is what I was told in a message regarding this game. I still think it's interesting from Chichester to be able to put 13 on Surrey, who are currently leading the division, but it makes me feel a little bit better about Reading winning that division.
Yeah, I think that's a scoreline which to me just says that I don't think it's not so hard. I don't think Surrey have got the minerals.
No,
she'll win it.
No, I really don't. Like, I've had a few messages from Surrey players like, why is Reading on top? Well, actually, it's more so UE Bullets 2's more than it is. Hold on, I think we've got to do a meme review after this. Sorry.
Has he done it again?
He has done it again. He's done it again. And Surrey Stingers. Sorry, I'm back on. Yeah, I think I don't feel bad about Reading being top of my my Midlands, my Division 2 rankings. I don't feel bad about that at all. I think the Reading Knights are going to win the South. I really do. I think it can change. Like let's say Swansea defeat the UE Bullets 2s by a considerable margin, or the other way around. Then I think one of those two will probably eclipse the Reading Knights. But as it stands right now, they're still my number one. My predictions will come out probably tomorrow now. But as it stands right now, I think Reading Knights are winning the Southern. I think they're winning it all. Yeah. So last game of week 9. Imperial 9, City 6. Imperial doing a little bit too close here for me. I don't like it. I don't like it for them.
I think...
But
I'd still back them.
Yeah. Would you say that scoreline is just indicative of Imperial football?
Yes.
So would I. That's why I am going to continue to be worried.
If they smashed everyone like 30 odd points every week and then it was that score, I'd be a bit worried.
Yeah.
But no.
what have they got left? So they've got a couple of weeks break, and then they're taking on the Greenwich Mariners away, and then they're taking on the QMBL Vipers away, where I think Imperial have got to beat. No, I don't think they do, have they? Oh no, I'll just beat QMBL versus Imperial last week of the season anyway. So yes, indicative of that. Let's go into a meme review. Let's have a look. Yeah, that sounds about right for Lincoln. That's a good one. Yep, okay, fair enough.
Only 4 memes this week.
Only 4 memes, well, it's his first week back. Come on, give him a break. I will say we have to give a shout out to the infamous Jed of the Bristol Barracuda for repping his Depth Chart Sports MVP hat on Big Game Night on Channel 5 yesterday, and then shagging a kick. And he shagged 2 kicks, but one of them was a lot more shaggy than the first one. So well done, Jed. You've Jedded. That's exactly what. To be fair, I mean this. If Jed didn't slip and fall over on his kick attempt, I would be disappointed. It seems like.
But why? It's not that hard.
To be fair, I will give this to Jed because you're kicking on a platform that moves. The platform the platform moved, and he went, head over.
Go full welly on this, and it's just not.
Yeah, this is it. Like the platform moved. If I was, I don't feel bad for Jed falling over. I would have pooed myself if the platform moved underneath me while I'm attempting a kick. So,
Are they at a uni on every week, or is that just me something they've just started?
No, they just started because they had Surrey and Southampton on, and then Bristol. So, and Cole gets his own shout out here on good old SW, as we call it, when we're trying to keep the show.
Cole's everywhere. Like. He's even on Teams' actual like Instagrams. Do your course, Cole. I'm talking to you now. Do your course. Your mic's gone, by the way. So Tempest has this problem before the show where his mic just doesn't work, and it still doesn't work. No. Should we just end the show now?
Yes, just end the show now.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Me? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
you could have said that. Okay, but yeah.
I just said it now.
Yeah, but Cole, sort yourself out, mate. End of the show. Cole, sort yourself out. So I will say we'll run it down for you. So we have got something coming on.
Run it down. The rundown. What?
No. No. Basically, what we're looking at this week. So we're doing something Tuesday, but it will come out later on. But it relates to the lovely Bristol Aztecs t-shirt I'm wearing. Wednesday, we have a Q&A with the Director of European Operations for the International Arena League, Alonso Barrett. So get your questions ready for that. Then on Friday, we're doing our preview show. And then on Sunday, I will be at the Bath Spa Bulldogs versus the Worcester Royals, where I will be enacting revenge on the Worcester Royals through the Bath Spa Bulldogs, and I try to be impartial for every game that I attend and go to. Not this one at all. If Bath Spa would let me play, I'd be wearing a pink jersey, but they don't. And then I'll be at the Bath Killer Bees versus the Bristol Barracuda. So stay tuned for that this week. Thank you very much, everyone. Send us your stats for Have a Day, and polls, the writers' poll, and my rankings will come out shortly, and predictions. And NTU versus Newcastle is 1 p.m. on Wednesday. So if you're in Newcastle, if you're in Nottingham, do that. I would go to it, probably not because I've got to drive to London tomorrow. But yeah, that's it. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.